Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Delete as appropriate whenever you're watching this. My name is Bowie Alexander, otherwise known as Bowie the Hero. I'm a streamer and I play RPGs, and I was given I was very lucky to get the opportunity to play Dragon Quest XI recently, and I played a few demos and had a bit of fun, so I was allowed to capture some stuff. That'll be playing over in the background during this, and I'll try and keep the audio levels balanced as best I can. So yeah, Dragon Quest XI. This is just a kind of shortish video. About 30 minutes to kind of like talk about what I thought of the game and certain elements, introduce some things to you and all that kind of stuff. This is just the opening video to the game, so that's kind of cool. Dragon Quest XI, what is it? If you don't know what Dragon Quest is, obviously it's hailed as one of the most traditional JRPGs, if not the original traditional JRPG. Turn-based battle system, very straightforward in that regard. And I think true to kind of the scene's the entire series' name, it's always been a bit of a grind. It's one of those fun, very unapologetically traditional JRPGs. Akira Toriyama obviously has done the design since the beginning, and it looks better than ever, and that kind of characterization really kind of comes out in this game. In Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. Obviously, you're going to be your hero, as you can see above me here, is 11, as we're going to call him for the purposes of this video, is joined by a bunch of cool cast of characters. And just turn down the volume there. And you go on an epic adventure. You are the luminary, and your idea is to you're kind of like linked to the fate of the world and a dark being. So you, as the luminary, have to try and stop all the evil that's rising. Classic, traditional fantasy fare. But of course, new cast, new methods of battle, new general vibe, and it's pretty cool. Fans of the Dragon Quest series are going to love this, I personally think, and we'll get on board with that as we kind of go. But yeah, as you can see, it's definitely much more dramatic. And a few harkens back to the older stuff. You can see 11 holding on to Erdrick, or Roto's blade there. It's quite the cool game. The intro is fairly long. I thought I wanted to show it just because it's really nice to kind of get that vibe and the epicness of this new game. So as I said, I'm not an editor, so apologies for any crude editing and any skips I may do to make sure that this stays within 30 minutes. Apologies. But we're going to get straight into the action. So I played 3 demos, and this is the first one of that. I forgot that I was playing on a PS4, and you can only record for 15-minute chunks. And I forgot to record the first 25 minutes. So here we are. We are in Heliodor, or Heliodor, however you'd like to say it. At this point, I was just kind of exploring, having a little bit of a run around, and I found that little blue chap after climbing down a chimney. Yeah, so it's kind of, if you've played Dragon Quest VIII, I think this is kind of the game that I will probably use as my cleanest point of reference, because I think if you're thinking of like home console Dragon Quest games, that's going to be the most akin. You do obviously have some extra ways to explore and get around, and the biggest change of that is the jumping mechanic. You can jump around and reach platforms, so it will change the way in which you explore these villages and areas that you do go around to. Of course, picking up pots and throwing them around is a staple of the Dragon Quest series of late, and does come back. And now this running mechanic. So, you mean you run in games, but Dragon Quest XI originally in the JP version didn't have that sprint feature. It is new to the Western version, which is a kind of nice little way to get around a bit faster. So at this point, I'd already been playing 25 minutes. I've leveled up a character. I've used some skill points. I've had some fights, and I wanted to kind of like buy a copper chopper quickly, and then kind of head out to have a fight and see how that goes. But yeah, all the kind of things that you know and love about Dragon Quest are back. You know, the items that you may recognize, the characters you may recognize. But I think, as I was saying, like the increase of the quality and the resolution of the graphics and everything really allows a extremely heightened level of characterization coming out from the characters you meet. One thing I think is particularly great, and we'll see this in detail a little bit later, is the gesticulation of the characters and how they present themselves when either in talking to themselves or talking to other characters or just being around. There's a lot more that characters can physically do to really extrapolate what Akira Toriyama's art style likes to do. I think one thing that's very clean about Akira Toriyama's art style, people will say, you know, it's one of those things that they do look very familiar whenever you see them, but that kind of like plays into the strength of it because it's kind of almost commedia dell'arte-y, if you know what I mean, where you have like stock characters in commedia, Italian theatre, and they're all kind of stock characters that you recognise and know, so when you see a new player, you know who's who. And you get that kind of vibe with Akira Toriyama's artwork. You know what kind of characters they're going to be based on certain design decisions made, and it allows you to recognise, you know, the characters that are important and less important, or will have an impact, and so on and so forth. We'll see a bit more of Heliodor in a bit, but I head out right now just to go and have a little bit of a fight, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the towns, because I think the towns are kind of an important part of this. Again, Dragon Quest VIII, if you've played it, you will recognise that you know, you have these massive open environments. You do again here, but it's kind of changed a little bit. They are still sprawling and huge, but maybe the interaction with how you go about exploring them might be a bit more focused. But we'll get into a fight just here, just to show you one quite early on. What I'm using here is a very simple camera. You have, this is the generic kind of static camera that just gives you different angles based on when you're fighting. And we'll go for a frizz and finish the guy off. Nice, easy fight. You may notice that before I got into it, 11 swung his blade and dealt some damage. You can swing your blade in the world map or any map that you're kind of running around in with enemies, and if you get that hit, it's not a kind of free turn for everyone, but it is a little bit of damage dealt, so you can kind of get a bit closer to that KO or kill that you need to get, which is kind of nice in terms of you know, finding a vantage point over your opponent and getting it, and then being able to have quicker fights. We head back to Heliodor now, and we'll talk a bit more about the towns and what you can do. It's amazing. You can see that the sheer scope of the villages is just massive compared to previous Dragon Quest titles, and I think that's kind of really helped out by the fact that you can run around really fast and you have this jumping mechanic to explore. It allowed the developers to really create these wider spaces and this more sprawling kind of map, so you do have that incentive and that drive and that ability to explore at your ease, at leisure. So when you're approaching new places and new areas, it's important to be able to know where you're going, what you want to look out for. There is the compass in the bottom left and the map, so you can see exactly where things are. But also you might see around little pink and little purple dots. These are quest lines, both main story stuff, or have something to say about the main story in pink, and purple is side quests. I believe that is correct. We'll find out if I'm wrong momentarily. So you can kind of like get a grasp of where you need to be and kind of understand your surroundings. Because they increased the size of everything, they needed to make sure it was a bit more concise for you to kind of follow and understand. But no more having to run downstairs again. We can just jump straight off. Very, very helpful for bigger areas, as I was talking about. I liked running. What can I say? So yeah, I was right. Yeah, purple is the side quests. So this young lady here requires our help. But this is what I was talking about. You can see the usual weapon shop owner there character is, you know, looking down, listening to her, and there's a little bit more of that characterization coming out, and that's what I really liked about this, and one thing that I kind of felt a bit more connection to that world because of it. So she's lost her cat, the little girl, and I make a bold guess about where it could be, and it turned out I was right. I don't know why I chose this, but I did. I was like, okay, let's go in here. Why not? Up the steps we go, and up a ladder as well. It's kind of nice. And had a little look around, and lo and behold, there was one cute kitty hanging out on the roof. Good shout. So again, being able to explore in this new way does kind of allow for hidden things to be in different locations, and will really kind of require you to get involved. It's kind of nice that the game kind of points out what's important and what's not. So if you are one of those players who prefers to kind of like just, you know, bosh on and get on with the main story, you can. But if you want to have a little bit of fun and explore, that option is available to you as well. It's really good to kind of have that core mechanic and that core vibe in a long-standing series like Dragon Quest, which, as I said earlier, has been, since day one, unapologetically about its core values, and that's really, really nice to see. So I decided just to leave that guy for now, because I really wanted to get involved with some things, and, you know, a sprawling castle. How many of these have we seen in Dragon Quest games before? But yeah. I kind of like this view. And then the serendipitous. I liked it. So, go for a cheeky little walk. And again, fountains are fun. Play around in the fountains. So inside this large, sprawling palace, yeah, you'll probably be thinking, because sometimes in some JRPGs you'll enter a grand building and it'll be a little less grand inside. See, that's two-headed eagle. It's a symbol of Heliodor. And lo and behold, we've got a crest and a flag confirming such. Let me have a chat with these two guards.
Halt. Not so fast.
Oh, let's go. We explain that we're the Luminary. Shake my hand, mate. That's the funniest one I've heard all week. Like it. So what I'm going to do for the interest of time, I'm just going to skip slightly further forward to get past this cutscene. I don't want to kind of leave you doing too much there. We get let in eventually, as you probably guessed. In terms of character customization, there's the loading screen, by the way. I edited it out earlier, but I left that one in. Why not? The weapons obviously change and the armors change based on what you have equipped. The costume for the character does stay the same, but you do get other ones. Like I know that Square-Enix have showcased the Dragon Quest VIII costumes, and I believe, I mean, this is not a thing that's been confirmed. I can't say it otherwise, but Dragon Quest VIII, you had unlockable alternate costumes for characters. Maybe we'll see the same here. I don't see why not, but everyone will be able to find out when the game releases. The late Princess's Chamber. Dang. No, you're not coming in. So this is the next cutscene that I'm going to completely cut out. I don't want to kind of give away any of this. But you can see that inside the castle is just as large and grandiose as it's seen from the outside. And it's really nice to kind of have that like immediate aesthetic connection to the size and scope of this game. We enter the King's Halls and we have a little chat. You may recognise what the king looks like, but I will skip this cutscene and move on to the next demo. A, for the interest of time, and B, so you guys don't get spoiled to what happens here. But you might recognise, again, some very clean aesthetic choices for character design, and you can extrapolate your guesses for what characters are like after that. Welcome to Castle Heliodor, friend. And with a glance up at the king, we will skip forward. Right. Okay. There we go. Let's skip forward. Okay. So second demo. No more of that cutscene. This is the region of Gallopolis. This part was actually a bit more combat centric, and we're going to be showing off a boss in the mid part. So that first demo was really early on in the game, and this is a bit later on. And this is the horse that you have available. You can just charge down enemies, and you can get them out of your way if you don't want to fight. The horse can also dash as well. There are rest stops that I'm going to be coming to here, that you can ring a bell wherever you lose your horse, and you can get your horse back at any point. But the horse is really, really great. It kind of helps you get around as well. This cutscene's been cut out because I'm not allowed to show these ones. So, as it is later on in the game, we do have more characters. So, following us right now is Sylvando, or Sylvando, however you want to say it. A jester kind of character, a performer, a dancer. Kind of, you know, one of those like quirkier characters, I guess I could say, akin to the quirkiness of Mori from Dragon Quest VIII. Again, that's my easiest reference for you guys. I'm going to get into the battle system. We've got three new characters with us. Eric, a thief, as you can tell by his attire and knife. Veronica, a short offensive magic mage. And then Serena, our much taller and spear-wielding support magic mage. However, of course, it is Dragon Quest, so there is a kind of overlap in certain abilities. Characters who are wholly or kind of like more support focused do have an offensive offering as well. So kind of nice to see. And again, utilising that strike to get that early point in the fight. Also, in this demo, I will showcase something else in the battle system that's kind of nice for players who maybe have been playing a lot of Dragon Quest over the years. Is that as well as having this battle system where kind of, or the camera rather, that's static, there's also the active camera angle as well. And you'll see it a little bit here. I'm much more used to not using it, so I don't really showcase it all the time, but it is here for you to see. Especially when we fight this bigger beastie over here. Where you can move the camera around and move your characters around the map whilst choosing what you want to do. This doesn't offer you any strategic advantage. However, it is a nice way for players, if they're a little less used to just the static camera, it allows them to engage and interact with the map in a little bit of a fun way. So it's not just kind of sit down, press X, press X, press X. If they're not used to it, it might be a nice way to kind of get them into that. So this is a nice kind of thing for maybe newer players who aren't used to a static kind of JRPG turn-based battle system. Regarding battles as well, this is a thing that's been happening a lot in RPGs recently, and one of the immediate things that I can think of would be something like Octopath Traveler, where enemies' names are written in white lettering. However, when you get them closer and closer to death, or to defeating them, the HP will then suddenly read in yellow and then in dark orange to show that they are closer to being defeated. So you have a kind of visual and an idea about how well the fight's going, or how close you are, or how angry the enemy might get. So yeah, you can run around. You can't like dodge out of the way of a fireball or a frizz coming at you. It's going to hit you, but it's just nice to kind of do that. But Sylvando came in and got the KO. So yeah, it's really, really great to see and really, really fun. Another thing here, as you can see, is there are these kind of, rather than having just symbols, there is this color coordination to your spells. So green is support or defensive, red is offensive, and then you've got purple and I think yellow as well for different things. So you know immediately just by a color coordinated glance what spell you're going to be scrolling over, which is a nice little thing again to kind of quickly find out where your spells are. I want an offensive, red, there they are, go, and that kind of stuff. And again, you can change weapons on the fly in battle, which is nice, especially for Serena, who does have spears. Most characters do have a two-handed weapon and a single-handed weapon, so there's one that's more offensive, no shield, and one that's a bit more, defensive with the shield. The Crabadabadoo casts Kabuff. Eric going in though. Good lad. So at this point, you can see that the big guy has come back. But yeah, the monsters again are around everywhere. So it's no longer random encounters if you haven't played Dragon Quest for a while. Or if you haven't played any of the 3DS re-releases of 7 or 8. Then you may not be aware that you can just evade enemies if you don't want to see them. So we're going to be making our way towards the next boss fight. And there'll be a cutscene again. So let's just skip forward to the boss fight. Here it is. The Slayer of the Sands. Again, a cool fight. I try and you utilize the camera, but this is the kind of point where I'd like to kind of bring in the next thing about the battle system. You may notice that I haven't been psyching up. If you've played Dragon Quest 8 or Dragon Quest 9, you'll probably remember the psych up mechanic where you can go 5, 20, 50, 100, and then it multiplies the damage that you output. To kind of like build the idea of like, the slower startup and you do a longer setup into a burst damage type deal. You might notice that I'm not doing that. Why, you ask? Because it's not an option on the menu to psych up. So, we've taken out psych. How are we going to change things up to allow us to kind of make, the battle system new and exciting and interesting? Well, funny you ask. You won't see it in this particular fight. It will be in the next fight that I'm going to be showing. But for now, this is a battle that's all about those core standard mechanics. Going for defense ups, defense downs, finding ways to weaken your opponent and get in and make and get damage done without this kind of long setup. It's about us consistent, pattering against the opponent, trying to kind of get that HP down slowly but surely. Which I kind of like. It's kind of the psych system, whilst kind of cool, is very exciting to kind of it can kind of like slow down the fights a little bit. So this is always things going on, and I got crit for a lot of damage. Crits do have this wonderful kind of like slow down and light show to kind of give you that exciting vibe, which is great. It's kind of nice. Like the production value of everything is really, really high in Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age. And it's really, really nice to see, like, if you are a fan of Dragon Quest, as I said, and are kind of coming back, and you just get that much more impactful feeling to everything that happens. And if you're not a fan and you do like those kind of, like, you know, the hit stun sounds and the flashes, it's all kind of exciting and fun, whilst having this system at play. Now, I'll also talk about the weapon system. So when you level up, you get skill points, and again, I'll use Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King as my reference point. You get skill points. You put them as you want into like certain things, and when you get to a certain amount of points, you unlock new abilities. That is back in a way, but not also. I didn't show it, unfortunately, because it was in the early part of the first demo, but I've obviously lost all of that content because I'm great. So you have like a skill board, and I'd say akin slightly to the license board in Final Fantasy XII, where you have a visual. Poison landed, let's go, lad. Eric's so cool, man. He's so cool. So you get skill points, and if you have enough, you can then go to like the next like segment and buy that skill, and then you can like choose where you want to go. You'll eventually have like 3 or 4 that you can choose in tandem, so you can make that choice as long as you have enough skill points to do it. So rather than just putting skill points in, and then when you get enough allowing you to choose, each brick that you come up to will need a certain amount of skill points, and you can choose that one there, but you still do get that in the same way. It's kind of like nicely laid out in the map. It's a shame I didn't have it to show you, I do apologise, but it does allow you to customise in a similar way to Dragon Quest VIII, but also with a bit more of a kind of visual identification of how it's going. Nice crit! Eric is so sick. It's just going in, man. Trying to land this sap. Thank you. Veronica is amazing. She's so short and feisty, as her character should be. Luckily, I'm getting some good RNG here. The random nature of the game not really kind of affecting me with these turnarounds. And then we use our camera there just to get the last hit. And then we're going to jump straight into the next fight, because I edited this very adequately and I forgot to get the beginning of the fight, because again, the 15 minutes and I was too into the fight and forgot. Bam! We're in a fight. This is the next one. Much later on in the game, you can see I'm about 10 levels stronger. And I have 2 more characters to introduce, Jade and Rab. Jade is your kind of youngest character. High HP, low MP, very, very high attack. Again, apologies for the editing. When I said I'd do this, I never said I was a good editor. I said that I loved the game and wanted to have some conversation about it. But this is a fight where I'm going to show you the new system. And I'm just going to scroll forward a little bit to about there. Yes, that is an old man. Rab is an old man. Good stuff. Sylvando has joined our party eventually, and Jade is amazing. So yeah, this is Tentacular. He has 2 more tentacles that do show up, but we defeat them. It makes for kind of a tricky fight to kind of always kind of sit there and manage the damage that's coming out versus the damage that you're dealing too. So I've got a brand new skill as well here, which is basically healing me every turn that I get. You can see it based on the, if you look on the icons to the next view, you can see what buffs you have available to you, which is very, very nice. You can always have a visual of how buffed you are and what buffs are actually on you. So speed up, healing, and attack +2 for Jade, which is quite helpful because she's our strongest damage dealing character. And then I'm going to show you the new system momentarily. Now, I'm going to say to you 2 words. Chrono Trigger. Have fun. You'll see what I mean. This was my immediate kind of reaction to, this is kind of like that. He rocks the boat and I fall over. That ain't good. As again, you can see just the quality of the details and the texture on Tentacular. It's very kind of like, it's beautiful, and you can really see how they've taken what they wanted to do with previous Dragon quests and really push that forward here in this one. How far forward do I need to go? Because I've only got 6 minutes left. Okay, I think it's coming up to the point when I will start using. I think when Hero sits up, that's when I'm going to start introducing the new mechanic. But Hero almost dies. 11 almost dies. It comes very, very close. I think he has like 11 HP left right now. Dang. I don't actually know how much it is. Let's have a look. It's 11, yeah. 11 on 11. So I was about to use an item We'll have a look there. What's that? The Pep Pip and the Pep Pop. I wonder what they are. Welcome to Pep. So it's almost limit breaky in a way. That when you are fighting for a longer time, you can suddenly go into Pep, which is kind of like a heightened state. It lasts for a few turns, and for as long as it wants. I had it for 7 turns or so. It increases the damage you deal, and it also gives you access to special skills. Now here's where I said the word Chrono Trigger. What do you mean by that? Now if multiple people are pepped up at the same time, Jade and 11 currently are, both party members have to be pepped to use Roaring to raid. So 11 uses it, and together they both use their pep to do a dual skill. Now, they have solo skills, they have double skills, and I believe there are some triple skills as well. So characters can together, when they are pepped up, combine their pep and go in. And then they'll use their pep ups. You have to re-pep them in order to bring them back. And this is going to be the big change in battle, and how everything's going to be much more exciting for kind of like dealing with what characters you want to use, the comps you want to have, how you're going to use your pep accordingly. But this is for me the big exciting thing, and this is why I say the first thing I thought of was Chrono Trigger, because of that duo triple tech type deal coming out. So Pep is the new system. Of course, there are skills. Obviously, characters have magic and skills as well, and every character will have their own unique stuff that will happen to them based on their weaponry, bloody blah. All those kind of like the stuff that we know and love from Dragon Quest is coming back. So I'm running out of time here. I do want to see if I can get the KO on the Tentacular. I'll just bring it forward a little bit to here, because Sylvando's going into Pep. This can happen automatically here. If you're attacked a lot, that happened by himself. You can either use Pep items to pep up, or it just happens at certain points in the fights, and then it lasts a while. So Sylvando auto pepped up, which is quite nice. Good old Sylvando. And then I'm going to use a Pep Pop, I believe, on everyone. So Pips do it for one person, Pops do it for everyone. So everyone's pepped up now, yeah. The Frizz Whiz comes out. So yeah, Duo Techs. It's so cool. I'm so excited to see this. Rocking the boat a bit more. I believe I'm going to use some Hacky Sack skill now, which is kind of fun. I think it's now. Pep Pals? Wacky Sack, there it is. So we're running out of time, so I'll use this to kind of like do my kind of follow-up thoughts. It's much the scale is much grander. Exploring is much faster and much more fun. The battle system's new pep system is really exciting, and I'm going to look forward to seeing what these duo and triple techs are going to be. And yeah, he's going to go for a big shot here. Did a little bit of damage. But yeah, it's so exciting, and it's a huge pleasure to be able to have a chance to play this, and hopefully we're going to get the KO on the Tentacular here. I do believe I'm going to have that. But yeah, unfortunately not everyone was available to use that one, so the power of Pep is only as good as you have everyone who is pepped. So managing that's going to be very, very exciting, and as a speedrunner, it's going to be interesting to see what our players can do with this. Jade gets the KO, there it is. I was unable to capture anything after this, so I had to just cut straight to the title screen, because we did do it, and bam. But yeah, Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age releases on September 4th on PS4 and Steam, and will be releasing, there's no planned date right now for the Switch version, but it is being worked on, so there are multiple releases for you if you do prefer to have it on a particular console or piece of hardware. It's an exciting game. I hope you enjoyed that look into it. I certainly enjoyed playing it, and it was a real pleasure to hang out with Square-Enix and do that. Thank you very much to Sunil for bringing me in, the community manager at Square-Enix, great guy, and it was a pleasure to work with him on this. I've only got another 30 seconds until it goes, and if there's any immediate questions I can answer, it's kind of fun. But yeah, under 2 weeks away. It's coming out soon. It's going to look great. It's going to be great. If you're a Dragon Quest fan, you'll love it. If you're new to Dragon Quest, it's definitely one that you can definitely pick up and play. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age when it launches in just a little while. Cheers.